Hello and welcome to Let's Talk on Its Spirits TV. Today we are having an industry leader who is known for his deep business acumen, great understanding of consumer preferences, and fabulous understanding of international businesses all across the world. He is Mr. Sanjeev Banga, President International Business of Radico Khaitan Ltd. Sanjeev has been with Radico Khaitan since 2008 and has been handling international business. He has played a key role in expanding the portfolio of Radico Khaitan in the nutrition market. That includes the famous whisky Rampur India single malts, different variants, Kohinoor rum, and Jaisalmer gin. Sanjeev is a respected leader of industry. He was awarded Business Leader of the Year in 2024. He is also a board member of World Luxury Council. Welcome to Experience TV. Let's talk.
Thank you very much, Vishanji, and humbled with the kind introduction that you've given about me. So, not too sure if I deserve that kind of introduction, but it's always a pleasure talking to you and Spirits TV.
No, Sanjay, you deserve every accolades in the world because you're the person who got the Business Leader Award of 2024. Also in the August company of World Luxury Council. This is not a small feat of achievement.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's the love of people like you and everyone in the industry. So, I'm just part of the industry and always been very happy to be part of the beverage alcohol industry in India.
So we start with the questions like we have seen that Indian spirits and craft gins, rums are having its movement globally, and Radico Khaitan has been the forefront of this movement. So, what is your take on this? Have we arrived on the global alcohol ecosphere, or is still we are trying to make our mark globally?
You know, as they say, it's early days and miles to go. No, in terms of Radico Khaitan, we actually started our luxury portfolio in 2016. That's the time when we launched the first expression of Rampur Indian Single Malt, Rampur Select. So, April this year, we complete 10 years of our luxury collection journey. And it's been hugely satisfying. But to answer your question about uh, where do we see Indian spirits or luxury spirits, I think best is yet to come. It's just the beginning. Uh, the Scotch world or the Japanese have taken a very, very long time. But now is the time for the new world, whether it is India, whether it is Taiwan or Australia, Sweden. Now everyone's making single malts as well. So it's no longer a domain or a monopoly of the Scotch industry over there. Also, if I was to look at India, there's always been mysticism about India. And India provides unique flavors, unique aromas that were so far being captured in our cuisine. Indian cuisine is possibly the second most popular after the Chinese cuisine, but we never had any beverage alcohol to go along with the Indian cuisine. But thankfully now we have the Indian single malts, we have the Indian gin, Indian rum, and a number of other things that are on the anvil. So which pairs very well with the Indian food as well. The more popular Indian cuisine gets, alongside the Indian spirits, will also get more and more popular. So I think it's just the beginning.
So, if I understand you correctly, Sanjeev, uh, if Indian cuisine is has become important component to be a part of the Indian single malt or the Indian spirits also, because if that is a problem, this restrictive approach towards the growth of a, because if somebody not eating the Indian cuisine, would he or she was still open to tasting Indian spirits such?
Absolutely. No, no, Indian cuisine is just an example, and that's your starting point.
Mm-hmm.
If you globally look at it, all fine dining Indian restaurants, who's the consumer over there? Yes, there are Indians, but by and large, it's the mainstream consumer.
Mm-hmm.
So this provides a great opportunity for them to taste the Indian beverage alcohols over there.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from that, the all the others, in any case, it's not restricted to the Indian restaurants or anything. Look at the GTR, Global Travel Retail. Our focus is on that. So it's not only the Indian diaspora which is traveling or the Indians who are traveling, but it's the all the nationality, whether it is the Americans or the Europeans or Australians, everyone is willing to experiment, and that's the great thing about single malts. A malt consumer is always willing to experiment, try out new malts. And that's where India, because of the geographical location, the temperature variation, provides an immense kind of bouquet of single malts that one can source from India.
I
And
was
that's
coming.
what that's
Yeah.
what making the consumers to come back.
Yeah.
Similarly with the gin, now Indian botanicals are world famous, and that's what we are doing in our Jaisalmer, or the other players are also doing with the gin. Showcase the uniqueness of India in terms of flavors, aromas in the liquid itself.
Mhm. I was coming to that. See, I want to understand, as you rightly said, that you launch your brand globally in 2016 with Rampur single malt. And then how was the consumers' reaction? Because Indian single malts are not well known at that point of time. Were they curious to know uh, how different Indian whiskey would be than the established names of a Scotch world? And you were the man who are dealing with these consumers all across the globally. Share your some experiences of yours dealing with these your distributors, retailers, and the consumers globally. With the first experience of going to sell Indian whiskey abroad.
You know, it's amazing. What when we started 10 years ago, we would participate in various whiskey shows and trade shows and all that. And first thing, a lot of people would say, "Oh, is India drinking allowed in India?"
Oh,
And then we never knew India made whiskey. And then you have to educate them. India is the largest whiskey consuming nation in the world. So it was a very tough road, but it was enjoyable. Educating the consumers, educating the trade, that India produces world class products and all. Because if you recall earlier, most of the Indian whiskey or the IMFL
hmm.
was primarily molasses based,
Correct.
which globally is considered as a rum, not as a whiskey. So the concept of India producing whiskies were alien to a lot of Western world or so-called developed world and all that. But that's changed. That's changed. Now, when we go to the shows, everyone says, "Yeah, which is the new expression you've got?" So people are looking forward to the new expressions that we come out with. So I think what Scotch whiskey did in about 2 years or 200 years, we trying to do it in say 20 years itself.
Hmm.
So that's the pace at which the world is operating these days.
Hmm.
And I have no doubt about it. The more and more consumers taste the Indian beverage alcohol, they'll fall in love with the Indian products that are being offered today.
So, in last 10 years or so, how many countries are your brands available? And which of your brands, or variants of whiskey or the gin and rum, are most loved and preferred?
You see, I don't want to give an incorrect number over there. So that's what I do is always a safe bet 100 plus countries. So I don't know, it's
Oh,
111 or 112 and all that. So it's always safer to say 100 plus countries is where our brands are currently available across. You start with Fiji all the way down to, say, Hawaii and Bahamas and all that. So we cover the length and breadth of the earth with our products over here, and there are pockets. See, certain brands do exceedingly well in certain markets. The advantage that we have at Radico is that we've got the whole portfolio.
Correct.
So we've got whiskey, rum, vodka, gin, Indian single malts. We're now coming with a liqueur as well. So we've covered everything that you want at different price positionings. So
Correct.
I will have a brand which would possibly retail at about $5 a bottle to $5,000 a bottle. So that gives us immense strength to enter any market because of the portfolio that we carry over here. But
Please go
if
ahead.
I was to talk about my luxury portfolio, obviously the developed world, Asia Pacific, Australia, Middle East, they are very significant for us. Equally significant is the GTR for us. We are currently in about 50 plus airports, and our target is in short term to come to 100 airports. So, wherever you are, you will find our brands,
Is
except possibly Saudi Arabia.
No. So GTR is a good business model for you because consumers are buying Indian spirits there and Rampur always there. I see whenever I travel, I see Rampur brands are there. So how the business generally doing at the GTR?
See, GTR is the show window.
Okay.
Anyone who's traveling passes through duty frees at the airport, and we make it a point to ensure adequate visibility for our brands over there. So that anyone passing through cannot ignore our portfolio over there. Uh, Also, the profile of the travelers is very different. So it's all nationalities are traveling, whether it is from the Indian airports or say a Dubai airport or European airports or even Australia or Singapore and all, and our brands are available over there. So our research shows us it is yes. I'm very thankful to the Indian diaspora because they are our biggest brand ambassadors. They pick up Rampur or Jaisalmer or Kohinoor not only for their own consumption but even for gifting purposes to their Western or mainstream consumers over there or friends and family and all that. So that's a fantastic uh, satisfaction it gives because they are so proud that India is now producing world class and world beating products, and they very proudly display it either in their bars or share it with their friends and families over there. So that's a very important, I would say, consumer base for us. Also, if you look at the overall profile, most of the travelers love to carry something unique from the destination that they're traveling to.
Very true.
So, yes, we used to have the Indian tea or the Indian silk and all the garments. They were very popular. Now it's Indian single malts and Indian beverage alcohol products. So, I would say, the consumers are all across.
Correct. So I've seen you have been collecting awards for your brands globally every year. I think one other award brands have got the awards globally. I see there is clear premium push of Radio Khaitan Limited. So, do we can we expect some new offerings coming from the company in near future?
See, innovation is the key. If you don't innovate, you're dead. We've done in terms of our Rampur Indian single malt. There are now enough expressions that are there. We keep coming with newer expressions. The latest one is part of our Jugalbandi series. So the final two expressions of Jugalbandi, number 7 and number 8, are just getting into rolled out into the markets over there. And then, as I mentioned, we're coming up with Ankahi, the liqueur as well, and that's the beginning of our liqueur series, which is essentially the forgotten recipes or the recipes that were confined to very small areas. We want to nurture them and bring them onto the world stage. So Ankai Zafran is the first attempt in that, and hopefully there'll be many more to follow. In terms of our single malt, we've just introduced a new single malt, Virasat, Indian single malt. So that's also coming into the global markets very soon.
A very exciting thing that you are coming out with liqueur as well, because not many Indian companies are actually experimenting with liqueur, because this is very niche category. What do you think that liqueur has some prospects in it for the Indian consumers, other than being used in the cocktail?
No, I think there is, as I said, there's mysticism about India and the herbs that we use in Ankahi. We use 21 herbs in that. Okay, a unique, uh, which I'll make you taste the product and then you can decide for yourself. It's unique. It's very different. And yes, liqueur as a category has been fairly small nascent in this part of the world, but globally it is big.
Correct.
And it provides us an opportunity to take those untold stories, the untold or the hidden gems, bring them out on a world stage. So that's our effort to take what was unique about India, forgotten. Now is the time to bring them back to life.
So this is all experimentation happening at your flagship facility at Rampur only.
Yes, absolutely. Our mother of innovation is Rampur Distillery. So all these things keep happening. We keep our master blender very busy.
Taking a thread, what you earlier said that you are present in more than 100 countries abroad, and since you are traveling a lot, you're collecting a lot of air miles, Sanjeev, and so you must be watching what's happening abroad over. Which you, which new markets you believe are showing good potential for Indian beverages, especially for Rampur?
If you were to ask me, I would say all markets. All markets. We launched our single malts or the luxury collection initially only in the so called developed world over there. And we said it's expensive product. But I personally was surprised as well to see the response that we got from African markets as well. So there are consumers who are looking forward to great products, unique products, newer products, and all that. So I would say is we still have a long way to go to explore all the markets. My objective or my aspiration is we should, or the Indian beverage alcohol space should be as big as, say, the Scottish industry or the Japanese industry as well.
So you ever discussing that Indian brands are collectively are going very well abroad and making a mark. Rampur itself in more than 100 countries. Give us a sense how much are we actually we exporting collectively to the international market, be it whiskey, rum, gin, uh, whatever products we have abroad.
See, in terms of the annual volume that we do or the exported volume of Indian beverage alcohol, it's close to about 10 million cases annually over there. But then a lot of that is the IMFL. See, in terms of export of the Indian single malts, it's in the range of about 150 to 200,000 cases outside of India. But India itself is a very large market. As per IWSR figures, last year the Indian single malts outsold the Scottish
That's right.
single malts over
Yeah.
here. So I think the potential for further growth of Indian spirits is huge.
Initially, I think the single malt makers were more keen about sending their brands abroad. Was it because of better profit margins, or they believe that Indians will not be able to afford the price point of those products? What was the reason that initially they launched abroad, then gradually came to India?
See, if I was to be totally honest about it, I'm sure some people may not like this statement over here is, but to sell a product at $100 a bottle in India, initially no one would accept that. When we launched it internationally, all the awards that we won, or the whiskey experts rating it so highly and all that, got the alarms bell ringing in India as well. Yes, if the Western world has accepted these as beautiful products and all that, we should be able to accept that in India itself.
Mm,
So that was initially
mm,
when we launched our first expression of that, and I'm sure Amrut also possibly faced the same thing when they launched in Scotland
correct.
their single malt over here. But now it's changed.
Mm,
Now, the Indian consumer itself in India is looking forward to what new is coming.
mm,
And if you go to any party, you will not find, say, the Scottish single malts over there. You will definitely find Indian single malts over there, Indian gins over there as well. So the consumer in India is now very well aware of the quality of the beverage alcohol that we all are producing in India, and they very gladly display that on their bars.
correct. So this brings me my next question, Sanjeev. When you see your products uh, sitting in the shelf next to the well-entrenched brands, Scottish and Japanese other brands, what is the competitive edge that the brands, your brands, have over the other established names?
See, the advantage we have in Radico is where our distillery is located. That's in north part of India, in Rampur itself, foothills of Himalayas. We have privileged access to the Himalayan groundwater. The soil, the air is very different, very unique. So all the, I said the DNA of all expressions of Rampur is a very smooth, fruity, floral single malt, which is a very easy drinking malt over here. None of our expressions are peaty or smoky because India doesn't grow peat, and we very clear from day one. Anything that goes inside the bottle has to be 100% Indian. So that gives Rampur a unique, a distinct flavor profile, and that's accentuated in all the expressions that we have. For example, Lasava, that's the first single malt in the history that's been finished in an Indian red wine cask. So
Correct.
our concept is to take India to the world, and we're very proud about it.
How is the Asava being taken abroad by the consumers?
Oh, the response has been fantastic. Asava won the Best Malt Whiskey Award at the John Barleycorn Awards.
Mm,
So it's a global
congratulations.
recognition. Everyone is in love with Asava as well, and that remains my personal favorite as also.
Yeah. As we see that the Indians are graduating to better quality products and they are spending more money to buying a better, higher end, higher priced brands. So that means there's also a shortage of, could be a shortage of mature malls, wetted malls, basically. So how you are managing to cope up with the supply to meet the demand?
Well, COVID did one thing which is fantastic. People started drinking less, but they started drinking better. And that's not only in India, that's global phenomena. Everyone's done that, so that's great for the premium and the luxury category of beverage alcohol products. Now, coming to the other, how we coping with that? First and foremost, we don't use any malt from anywhere in all our single malts. That's all in house. We produce in Rampur, that is used in all our single malts over there. So we don't get even the barley. We use North Indian six row barley over here. So everything, as I said, that goes inside a bottle of Rampur or Virasat is 100% Indian
Oh,
over there. And how do we cope? We enhanced our malt distillation capacity a couple of years ago. And now we've set up another malt plant to cater to the requirement.
Sitapur.
No, no, in Rampur itself.
Okay.
We've installed a new malt distillery over there
Okay.
that just started. Jim Murray was here to inaugurate that malt distillery of ours. But the good thing about us is we never chase volumes. We are very patient that way, especially with our luxury portfolio over here. We nurture those brands. Uh, if I was to give you an example, I have so many expressions globally of Rampur, but there are only two expressions that are available in the Indian market. Because the moment I open the Indian market, I will not be able to cater to the global audience over here. So that's the reason we enhanced our malt capacity. As more and more malt becomes available, we will expand the distribution in India itself, which we are now doing with that. So, uh, as I said, it's a very calculated strategy. Don't chase volumes, create, nurture those brands,
Mm.
and the business continues to grow.
Very true. So we have seen a lot of FTAs have been signed between India and other countries, EU, uh, and USA's with the USA's also the pipeline. Do you believe that the FTAs will lower the barriers for the Indian brands abroad? Also, will increase competition in the domestic market? What's your take on that?
See, there are two sides to that. One is the Indian domestic market, the other is the export potential.
Correct.
Let me answer the second one first, because that's in terms of export potential outside, it does not impact uh, the luxury portfolio, because most of the markets, actually, especially in Europe and all, they don't have any import duty.
Hmm.
They have excise taxes, which is applicable to an imported product as well as a locally produced product over here. So that doesn't make a difference. However, what should have made a difference was if the non tariff barriers had been brought down in terms of the classification of whisky and
Hmm.
all that. That has not been addressed in those
Hmm.
FTAs.
Hmm.
Hopefully, as we go along, that will also be addressed.
Hmm.
Now, in terms of the domestic market, I think it's fantastic news from company point of view as well as from the consumer point of view as well, because we are one of the largest importers of Scotch malts. So any duty reduction definitely gives us that benefit over here. Now, from a consumer point of view, once the duty goes down on the bulk Scotch that malts that one is importing, you can do two things over here. Either you can, or three things actually. You can pocket all the savings that you have. Second, you can increase the malt percentage in
Hmm.
your blend, so you give a
A better
consumer a
quality.
better product over there. And the third is you can reduce the price, pass on the savings to the consumer. So, from a consumer point of view, I think it's great. From company's point of view, also, it's perfectly fine. In terms of increasing competition, I think more competition is always good, because then the Indian industry also ups the scale. And you've seen in the luxury portfolio, not only us, but all the other
Yes.
players as well. We competing with the finest of the world, and still we've made a mark for ourselves. So I won't worry too much about that.
Sanjeev, where do you see yourself at the company in next 5 years' time? Radico is on the growth momentum, and India, I believe that this is India's decade now.
We're very, very, very extremely positive about the potential of Radico Khaitan Ltd, in terms of the portfolio that we have, in terms of the investments that we did in creating brands uh, all these years. Now is the time to reap the benefits of that. Be it the white spirit, where we already have a dominance in vodka. Over there, we've launched a luxury vodka as well, Spirit of Kashmir over there. Be it in terms of the luxury portfolio, where we already have a fairly wide portfolio over there. And then in the whiskey category as well, whether it is Royal Ranthambore or the newer brands or the brands that we've basically created in the past 1 or 2 years, they're on a takeoff stage. So, from a company point of view, I think we are on a big takeoff stage over here, and it'll be great for the consumers as well as our partners as well. So, only positive things about it.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Thank you very much. It was a very enriching discussion, and we got to know many things about Radico's new brands, its plans, its international markets, and the growth potential the Radico has. It's a privilege to have you with us at Let's Talk on the Spritz TV.
Thank you so much, Vishanji. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Always a
Thank you
pleasure.
so much.